The code property graph is a patented procedure developed by our chief scientist, Fabian Yamaguchi. The code property graph is actually a really cool piece of technology, and it's a combination of actually 3 different graphs: the abstract syntax tree, control flow graph, and program dependency graph. And long story short, what the CPG does is it actually takes your code and makes it into a graphical representation of that code to be able to track, all of the expressions and statements within the code, the order of execution, how the data flows back and forth. This allows us to get a holistic view and determine, with more accuracy, what is actually reachable. And identifying all the functional elements, the data flow paths, and everything in this single property graph. If you think about the traditional way of scanning applications, you would go library by library by library. So let's say you have 3 libraries that you're scanning. One library has 5 reachable vulnerabilities. One library has 2 reachable vulnerabilities, and one has 3 reachable vulnerabilities. And that's if you scan them one by one. So you may get an aggregate score of saying, okay, well, your application has 10 reachable vulnerabilities. But what that's not doing is taking into context how the data is flowing. So using the code property graph provides a much more accurate and realistic viewpoint of your code. It also makes it easier to scan. In traditional methods, you may have copied your source code up to the cloud to be put into a simulated environment, and then the scan was done that way. With the code property graph, all we're sending to the cloud for our backend scanning is the graph of the application, not the source code itself. So the source code stays in your repository, but the code property graph is actually based purely on your operating environment. The CPG is, our patented way of helping our customers find those vulnerabilities that matter the most, quickly and accurately, and help them to reduce the noise, to reduce the amount of false positives, to reduce the amount of alerts that they're getting, so that they can really focus on what's important: the results that matter, the results that are vulnerable, and the results that are reachable and exploitable. And that's just one of the ways that Qwiet AI is helping our customers to get rid of all of the noise and focus truly on what's important.